Welcome to another video. In today's video, I am creating my very first silicone mold of this beautiful rock, and then I'm going to be creating these beautiful crystal wine stoppers using that mold. So let's jump right in. So before I begin, let me give you a tiny bit of background on this. So this crystal vintage perfume bottle thingy is a part of my decor, and every time I've looked at it, I have thought to myself, I need to make a mold of this because I absolutely love that quartz at the top, and I just think that the shape is such that it's going to make a perfect mold to create these crystal bottle stoppers. So it's got this rocky portion at the back, and the front side is the crystal, and I believe it is edged with some gold leaf. So I have to try and fashion a housing for when we pour our silicone to make our mold. Now this is a silicone I'm using. I can't remember where it's from. I think it's just from Amazon from a very long time ago actually. Now in order to make a housing, I'm just going to use this plastic cup, and I have this piece of scrap card just from some packaging, and I've made a little hole in there in which I can then put in this bit and sort of suspend the crystal into the cup. I hope I'm making sense, and I am constantly second guessing myself as I'm doing this because I haven't actually made a mold before using liquid silicone. In my head I think it works, whether it actually works or not, we'll find out. So that being said, it's time now to go ahead and mix some silicone. So I've measured and mixed up my part A and part B, and it all looks nicely combined. What I am going to do is pop this into my bubble removal machine by Resiners, and this is just my attempt to make sure that the mold is nice, smooth and bubble free. So here goes. Once again, I will try and link everything along with the discount codes in the description below for you. Also, I'm really sorry about my voice. I have a sore throat. That's just the weather at the moment here in the UK. Everyone's ill and down with something, so bear with me on that. I always find it so satisfying to watch all the bubbles come up to the surface, and it is especially satisfying to see it with silicone. So hopefully I'm going to have no more bubbles in the actual mold. Okay, so I've just emptied the silicone into my cup, and I'm suspending my crystal thingy. Let's just call it a crystal thingy for now because I don't know what else to call it. And I am just using some tape to secure it because the last thing I want is for it to eventually slip and fall down. So I'm just using some tape and just making sure that it is nice and secure in there. And this is what it looks like, and I'm going to leave it to cure, and we will be back the next day, which is only a few seconds for you guys. So here goes.
The next day.
Time to unmold, and I'm really excited to see if this has worked. So I'm just going to pull away all of this and my little make do mold housing, and yeah, see if I can get any of this out. So I'm just gonna cut through the cup so I can get this out, and then I'm gonna have to do a fair bit of surgery to get my actual crystal out of the silicone, I assume, because the silicone at this point is really nice and firm. So unfortunately I've not made any mold with liquid silicone before, so I don't have the right tools and the little cutters, or I don't even have like a nail set, because I know a lot of people use that, the clippers. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to do with some scissors and some blades. But yeah, after a fair bit of surgery, which I didn't want to bore you with, I was finally able to get this out. I did have to slip through one side of it, which I don't think is a big issue, because when I do pour resin in it and cast in it, I can put a band around it or tape it around just to make sure I don't get any leakage from there. So hopefully it should still work. There are some tiny bits of silicone that have gone into the crystal thingy bit, but I think some tweezers will be able to get those out without an issue. So yeah, so it's time to actually mix some resin and see if this mold works. So I'm using my J Diction Officials epoxy resin, and once again I'm going to go ahead and probably mix my colors in and then put these in the vacuum pot just to get all the bubbles out, because I don't want any bubbles in my actual wine stopper crystals. And the colors I'm using are mainly whites, so I'm still going for that quartz look. So I'm going to use a tiny amount of diamond dust, which is very, very fine glitter, I suppose you could say, just for a little bit of sparkle. And I'm going to use some pearl white and some opaque white paste, but I'm going to keep it sort of transparent. I'm going to put all of these 3 cups into my vacuum pot, and then we are ready to pour. So like I said, I did have to slit the mold on the side, so I'm just going to go ahead and tape that area around it just to make sure that I don't get any leakage. And I will still place this mold into a cup in case we do have some resin leaking out. Hopefully not, but just in case. And as far as the pour goes, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just gonna do a dirty pour into a cup and pour all of this into the mold. Next, I have the base for the wine stopper, and I believe I got these from eBay, but I am gonna try and link these for you in the description below. And I'm just gonna place this down into the mold where it's touching the resin, and hopefully it will all cure together and stay in place. And I'm going to be back in a couple of hours to check on this.
Later that same evening.
So I did have some extra white left over from that pour that I just poured into these little molds that I had lying around, and I'm just unmolding those. And I had this little boat mold. I don't know where it's from and I don't know what to do with it, so yeah, we'll see about that. And this little heart trinket tray, which is super cute actually, but I think in this case the colors had all melded by then, and it just looks like a white heart. So I think we will at some point do something to this and zhuzh it up, but for now just gonna put this to the side and we can carry on unmolding the project. Okay, so I was able to get it out of the mold, but because I pulled on too hard and maybe my resin and my wine stopper were not in enough contact with each other, it didn't adhere to the crystal. So as you can see, there's a tiny bit of silicone that I am going to have to pull out using some tweezers, but overall really happy with the texture. The back does have that rock texture and the front is all crystally and quartz-like, so I think that is a success. I'm going to clean this up and we then need to attach the wine stopper again, so I'm going to do that. So I'm happy with how this turned out, but as you can see there are a few issues with it that we will have to go ahead and address. So I think I'm going to attempt another one, and this time let's make an amethyst one. So for this one I have mixed up some purpley colors along with some pearl white, and I've kept the resin sort of quite transparent. The purple is tint. I just have like a light purple, a dark purple, and a pearly shade. And once again, I'm just going to do a dirty pour and pour this right in, and hopefully it looks all amethysty. It's a word.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant. No! It's just dumb!
Now this time I'm thinking I'm not going to put in the wine stopper right away. I think I'm going to let the resin thicken up and then go ahead and put the wine stopper in and see if that gives a better hold to the two of them. And once again I have some leftover resin, so I'm going to pour it into this heart mold and make a nice little trinket. I want to remind you to like, comment, sub, and engage with my channel. This is how you can help me out. I'm really trying to grow on here, and it's not always easy. You know, it takes a lot of effort creating these videos, the editing and all of the voiceover, all of it. And so I would really appreciate if you would leave me some feedback. Let me know what you want to see next, what do you want me to create, and yeah, Just let me know what you think of this particular project. Also, go ahead and smash that notification bell so you get notified every time I post another video. And I decided to place a druzy insert on the heart just to see what that looks like. Okay, now that my resin has thickened, I'm going to go ahead and put the wine stopper into the mold, and hopefully I do get better adhesion with this way of doing it. And I'm also going to go ahead and use this thick resin to stick on the wine stopper to the crystal that we made earlier. So just applying some of it on both the sides, and then I'm going to tape them together just to make sure that they can have time to bond and cure. And if need be, I can further reinforce this glue with some UV resin just to make sure that is nice and secure. Okay, so time to unmold. I will first go ahead and start with this heart tray, and I've just taken the druzy insert off, and I think it looks fabulous. Cannot wait to see how the amethyst tones have come out. I'm absolutely in love with this. I know this was like a side extra project, but I love how this has turned out. So cute. Definitely amethyst vibes. Okay, now for the actual crystal. Let's see if this attempt was any better. I forgot to mention, but I did not have any leaks from the side either of the times, not the first time and not this time either. So that's good to know that that's not going to be an issue. But I think I still prefer to tape it, but it's just good to know that there won't be any leakage. I'm not going to lie, that it is a bit of a struggle to get these out, but it's finally out, and look at that. So once again, there's a few bits and bobs that I need to trim, and should be fairly easy to do that, but absolutely in love with that. Once this is finished, I don't think we'd be able to tell if this wasn't a real amethyst. That druze is amazing, and also the shades, like the light and the dark, it just works. So happy. I actually love this one better than the quartz one. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim the extra bits. Once again, there's a tiny bit of silicone as well, so I'm just going to trim all of that out, and then we can finally move on to finishing these. This definitely has bonded nice and securely to the stopper, so definitely I think it's a better idea to put in the stopper after the resin has had a bit to settle down and become thicker. And I'm just gonna get the previous one out, the one that we attached, and once again this looks nice and secure now, so absolutely love them. Now let's go ahead and make these even better by adding a tiny amount of bling to these. So now for my amethyst one, because my bottle stopper is silver, I'm going to use some silver paint. So this is my Montana liquid silver, and I like to use one of those Q-tips and just dab on this along the edge of the crystal, just like we have it in the actual bottle stopper. So I'm just going to do the edge, and I think I'll leave the back as it is on this one because I quite like the rock effect. And for the quartz one, I went ahead and did a copper edge just because the wine bottle stopper was a copper color one that I had, and this is what these look like. Absolutely love how they turned out. Leave me a comment, let me know which one out of the two that you like better, and I hope you've enjoyed this project, and I will see you in the next video.